Hey, what is up guys, it's Dustin and I'm back with another video. Now this is an impromptu video. I literally had no idea or intentions of making this video. This is something that's sporadic because I actually had a response kinda from Lima after my last video, and I wanted to kind of come on here and talk about that because I believe that this is a big thing, and I'll explain more later in this video as to why. But if you were here for that, stay tuned to this video. Now, before we get into this, I want to say that I have never in the history of my channel condoned anyone making threats toward another person, death threats, or any kind of other threats, regardless of what the intention is. A threat is a threat, and I know that my subscribers absolutely would not do that. I've monitored the comments here. You guys, for the most part, have been extremely respectful of everyone in the situation. So what we're going to be talking about is Lima and her Instagram post that she posted the other day after my video went live. And there are some other things that I kind of want to talk about as well, because she said that she's open to criticism, and I'm here to give that. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I am going to be heavily monitoring these comments. And as I've always said before, please don't go leave people nasty, negative, vitriol like type comments. It's just not productive and it doesn't get us anywhere. It's not helping any kind of conversation get started about conservatorships or anything like that. So if you don't have anything constructive to add to the conversation, I just ask that you please refrain from leaving comments that are negative or going and leaving other people comments that are nasty or negative or anything that could be interpreted as a threat. That's just not okay. That's not cool. I don't care who it is. That is the exact reason why I put guidelines on my channel that you have to accept before you leave a comment for the first time. So for the most part, you guys have done great. Now that all of that is out of the way, let's kind of talk about Lima's post a little bit. So she posted this the other day. I'm going to read it for you, and it's kind of lengthy, but you'll understand why I'm going to read it for you here in a minute, because it's pertinent to things that I have found about Lima and Mark Leda on Soft White Underbelly. We're going to dive more into that in my next videos in the series as well. I don't have a due date yet as to when this video is going to be posted or whatever, because I kind of want to wait and see how Lima is going to respond to this. And before I get into reading this Instagram post, I just want to make it very well known that I made it a point in my last video to say that I really didn't care for Lima, and I don't. But since she's kind of responded, in my opinion, I will do what I always do, even with people that I really don't care for, and that's me hearing her out. So I'm going to hear her out. I want to wait and see how she's going to address this, but I want to react with what I know from everything that I've researched with Lima. But you guys, let's get into reading this Instagram post because it's pretty lengthy and I have a lot of feedback and a lot of criticism. So let's just do it. So Lima posted and said, "I have this shirt in every color. I'm aware that online rumors have been circulating and overshadowing my work and my mission to change the way we treat mental health. Despite the relentless harassment, leaking of all my private information all over the internet, threats to my family and clients, constantly reporting my social media accounts and business, and the over 14,000 emails that have cluttered my inbox, making it very challenging for me to respond to work-related matters in a timely manner, I'm still going strong. Although I don't like to give attention to online drama, I understand that many of you are curious, and out of the respect for people that support me, I will address the rumors in more detail in the coming weeks. But please keep in mind that I am not obligated to discuss private family matters with the public. In order to respond to the inquiries and accusations I am receiving, I would have to disclose information from medical records, and it's not my place to speak about the people and the cases I help with. I also don't want to engage too much into online drama and distract from the cause I represent: high quality mental health accessibility for all. My goal with social media has always been education. You do not need medical or legal degrees to be able to leverage your community tools to file guardianship, conservatorships, or court-ordered treatments, COTS, to help your loved one. Because I have so much experience and knowledge within the space, I feel an obligation to share my knowledge with others struggling to help their family members. I own and operate a tech startup at Meetora. I've never charged for my time when helping people with guardianships, conservatorships, or COTS. I believe in free speech and encourage criticism, as that is part of education, so I do not block accounts or delete comments. If people do not agree with me, however, I do not tolerate violence. I report all threats and delete comments sharing my or my family's personal information. I look forward to answering all of your questions and hopefully teaching you something new." So I'll bite. I am very interested to see how Lima is going to address this. I don't think that she'll be addressing anything with Bam Margera, and I think that that's what she was alluding to in this statement. But Lima went on to pin another comment, and I want to read that for you because I find this very interesting. Lima said, "Again, I am not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, nor have I ever claimed to be. I do not perform lobotomies." Now, this part right here really stuck out to me because I was like, that's funny. I've heard that somewhere before, and here is why.
The list of rehab facilities that Aura works with is an impressive list, and you've already been working with them long before
So they're very prestigious facilities that, like I said, most people cannot get into. And I personally cannot afford those facilities for my sisters. And my sisters would be Amanda Price's times 2. So my initial initiative for wanting to help Amanda, or wanting to objectively help someone that I'm not related to, that is basically to prove. So what I'm trying to prove here is not my technology, or it's not my, it's initially that we need long-term treatment, and we need additional tools for therapists so that they can measure how patients are feeling.
And your company provides those additional tools for therapists. That's all.
Exactly. And so the facilities that
people had you like, I think you were performing lobotomies on
No, not at all.
Literally the only person I've ever seen comment about Lima and lobotomies was Mark Leda on Soft White Underbelly. So I don't know where she got this from, or if that was something that was sticking in the back of her mind. But that's something that you should talk to Mark Leda about. I do not own a clinic or rehab, and I do not receive a financial kickback from treatment centers. I believe that these types of payouts for referrals are not legal, because they're not. They're absolutely not. In Amanda's case, she was very public about her condition, and all I was able to discuss were the details of what was already known to the public. Now, here's my grievance with this. Lima is pretty well known now. She is the owner and founder and CEO of Aura. She's been on Soft White Underbelly quite a bit, exposing her business to millions of people. And in almost every instance, when there's a mental health issue that comes up, Lima tries to relate to the situation through her sisters. So in some way, her sisters are public figures as well, because they also had this very successful YouTube channel that they no longer post on. But Lima also still promotes them, because if you look at the playlists on her channels on Lima from Aura, there's a playlist of all of their videos. So naturally, people are going to be curious about her sisters and her, because they feel some kind of attachment to them. And that's kind of normal for people to do, because when you watch someone for so long, you kind of get interested in who they are. Now, I'm not saying that people going and searching up her information is not creepy, because that is absolutely creepy. I've had every bit of my information put on the internet before. It's a pain in the ass. It's not cool, and I would not wish that on my worst enemy. I think that people really need to understand that there are lines and boundaries, and there's just some lines that you absolutely should not cross. But what's really weird to me about Lima bringing this up and saying that she's getting all these death threats and posting these screenshots of her emails and these comments that she allegedly was receiving is, Lima has talked about this before, and she's complained about this before at length, pretty much on Soft White Underbelly. This is not a new thing. It's just weird that she would come out of the woodwork and try to victimize herself after the fact, after I posted a video. And I wasn't even the first person to break this story. BJ Investigates has been reporting on this stuff with Ben Margera for quite some time. And I just found it very weird that Lima would make this statement about being like threatened and all this different stuff, when I know that my subscribers would not do this, and she's had this issue in the past. And if you don't believe me, check this out.
The last factor is that I really do want to clarify that all of the funds go to giving.org. So I highly recommend people to look into what Giving is and who they are and who they represent, because they've also represented several high-profile charities, like Miley Cyrus's charity. I can't remember the name of it. But there's been several, people should do the research on who Giving is. There's been a lot of assumptions on who I am and the fact that I'm not a real person, because my company was registered under another last name. That was my old last name. I did get married recently, so I am a real person. And a lot of speculation from people that are not my clients.
I mean, it's YouTube's comments. A lot of people just like to create a controversy.
But I've received a tremendous amount of death threats. Sorry. We're going to have to retake this. This doesn't really
there's lots of death threats. I get them too.
So before anybody gets started making comments about me or anyone that has made videos about this situation, this is not a new issue. I just want to make that very well known, and neither myself or BJ would ever condone somebody sending death threats, emails, or anything like that. That is not something in the realm I would even associate myself with, and I know that BJ wouldn't. Now, here's another criticism that I have for Lima, and it's very suspicious to me, and I don't understand why she would lie about this. I'm not saying she's lying. You guys can discern that for yourselves, but what I'm saying is, it's just very suspicious to me that when Amanda passed away on May 9th, there was then a video posted, I believe, on Soft White Underbelly, and it was titled Amanda May 2021, and Lima says the only thing that was in Amanda Rabb's system when she passed away was Tylenol, and that's just not true.
So on Sunday, May 9th, the treatment center staff walked into Amanda's room thinking that she was just peacefully sleeping and realized that she had passed away. It's been a really, really big shock for us. And my brain hasn't really been able to comprehend it. And announcing it makes it real, so.
It's hard to believe.
It's very hard to believe. And so I think I know that they did a toxicology report. All she had in her system was Tylenol.
Lima even mentioned that there may have been TBIs that contributed to this, and if you don't know what a TBI is, it's a traumatic brain injury, because Amanda did have some instances where she got in really bad fights and really got hurt very, very badly. But Lima tried to attribute part of that to her death when in reality on the autopsy report it wasn't there, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But to show you guys what I'm talking about, there was this post that was made on May 15th of 2021 after Amanda passed away by Lima, and it says the following: "It is with a heavy heart that I share with you Amanda has passed away. We changed Amanda's life and showed the world that no matter how far you've sunk into your mental illness or addiction, recovery is possible. Unfortunately, the physical toll mental illness and addiction can take on the body is something we have no control over. On May 9th, 2021, Amanda passed away in her sleep in residential treatment prior to her release to outpatient care. While her death is still under further investigation, we are awaiting the results of the autopsy. Foul play, self-harm, and relapse have all been ruled out. It is believed that in combination with the physical damage caused by her long-term drug use, she passed away from the traumatic brain injuries, TBIs, she sustained as a result of multiple violent and beating she endured as a young homeless woman living on the streets of Los Angeles. Your donations helped to extend Amanda's life and give her a very happy 7 months in treatment. Without you, she would not have had all the opportunities and experiences she did, and most importantly, the ability to find value and love for herself. She died in peace." Now, here's where Lima lost me, and listen, I want to give her the benefit of a doubt. I want to hear her out just as much as I would anyone else, because I don't want to get anything wrong. But what she said, technically, I don't know if it's a lie, but I know it's not the truth. A factual statement would be that there was caffeine, cotinine, and gabapentin in her system. It doesn't say anything about Tylenol, but she didn't mention anything about gabapentin or cotinine, caffeine, or any of the things mentioned here. She said Tylenol. And it goes even further than that. I don't know why she was speculating or saying this about these TBIs. Amanda may have had TBIs, but per this autopsy report, it does not indicate anything or suggest anything that TBIs would have been a contributing factor in her death. It says no evidence of traumatic injury, and the opinion cause of death is the 25-year-old black female Amanda Rabb died of cardiac arrhythmia, hypertension, obesity, and schizophrenia were contributing factors. And this is word for word from the autopsy report. So I really just don't understand, and I hope that Lima will address this in her video and try to make this make sense. I don't know why she would say there was Tylenol in there when there wasn't. And I want to say, when someone dies, the expectation of privacy also dies with them. Lima made it very clear that Amanda shared her story, so I don't really understand a problem with her sharing this as well. Now, I have another grievance with Lima as well. So Lima has talked at length about these petitions that she had put out for the US government and insurance companies to recognize and mandate technology in mental health treatment. And I kind of want to talk about that because I feel like that is important, and I feel like it really verges into this transhumanism stuff, and I take a big issue with that. So let's talk about that. So the second petition that Lima is talking about is to mandate technology in mental health treatment plus insurance coverage for long-term care. Now, I agree that there should be long-term treatment facilities for people, because I don't think that 30 days is enough. But I also don't think that insurance companies should have to pay this amount of money to these treatment facilities that are like 5 stars. Because Lima has made it a point that these Aura facilities are like top tier.
So the cost of real treatment would be about, and this is very low, right? Would be about $250,000 for a year for somebody. If you were going to constantly go door to door.
Now, there's 2 call to actions in this petition that I want to kind of like go over, because I don't think people understand what this means. Call to action for insurance companies. Insurance companies have a very taxing responsibility to provide access to care and financial protection against medical costs. Due to the lack of quantifiable metrics to measure patient progress in mental health care treatment, insurance costs are high and endless. We need to join forces with our nation's insurance companies to help them protect us, lead innovation in mental health care by developing new regulations that mandate mental health care treatment centers and private practice professionals to deploy the following measures into mental health treatment in order to qualify for mental health insurance coverage. Now, the first thing on this call to action is to prevent misdiagnosis, to leverage health detection technology to guide mental illness diagnostics, 2, to track patient progress, utilize tools in therapy to measure and record patient response to treatment, 3, long-term coverage insurance push incentive for change by covering a minimum of 1 year of door-to-door care for mental health treatment providers that have the above tools in place. We urge leaders in our healthcare system to take the first steps and lead the way in transforming the mental health care industry. And here is kind of where Lima loses me all the freaking way, because it's not just a mental health care issue. There is a real problem in America when it comes to healthcare in general, not just mental health care. And the prices of healthcare in general are atrocious. And it's my opinion that we shouldn't be just trying to get insurance companies and the government to pay for more crap that's even more expensive. We should really be petitioning the government to lower and standardize costs so there's not these astronomical bills that people get. Lima has talked at length about how expensive this stuff can get, being anywhere between $250,000 a year up to $300,000 a year. That's just absolutely ridiculous. There's not very many people here in America that can even afford that. So we should not be trying to force insurance companies to pay for these grandiose treatments when they're marked up so incredibly high for these for-profit rehab facilities. There should be some kind of standard metric, standard rate, or anything, and anything above that should not be allowed. And there was a call to action for the US federal government, but it was literally just the same thing. And another issue and another criticism that I have for Lima is the fact that Lima says that people should not be allowed to be homeless.
We have the autopsy results for Amanda.
Yes, we do.
Which just came a couple days ago. Tell me what you know.
Yeah, so the reason that it took so long is because there was a lot of lack of documentation because Amanda was homeless. And so basically what they used was they did the autopsy, they looked at her medical records, and then Larry and I also sent in your videos to kind of show her condition from the drug use and the beatings that she took. And we also had some photographs. And so I'm just going to read it word for word of what we got. The cause of death was marked as a seizure disorder. Amanda never had seizures prior to being homeless, and they believe that it was post-traumatic epilepsy, but they couldn't mark it as post-traumatic epilepsy because of a lack of evidence. So they couldn't tell if the seizures are from past drug use or traumatic brain injury from the assaults, since the assaults were not well documented. And then in brackets, they put police reports or hospital records. And so they just marked it as a seizure disorder. If they had gone the route of doing post-traumatic epilepsy, if the traumatic brain injury and the assaults were well documented, they would have most likely marked it as a homicide. So that was a major wake-up call for all of us, because it basically illustrates what we were saying in the last video, that people shouldn't be allowed to be homeless.
Now, another issue and another criticism I have of Lima is the fact that she says people shouldn't be allowed to be homeless because at the end of the day, they don't really know how to help themselves. And this is something that she said. Now, I don't know where anyone can say no one should be allowed to be homeless, but in my opinion, I feel like Lima and Mark Leda both think that if someone's homeless, that automatically means that they're on drugs, and that's just not true. That is not even anywhere close to the truth. But who is anyone to say that someone can't be homeless? There are people that, in fact, do choose to be homeless. If you want to fall down a rabbit hole, look up the mole people of Las Vegas. It's absolutely insane, but there are people that are there that choose to be homeless. Hell, if you know anything about Creepshow Art, she chose to be homeless and then put it on the internet to make it seem like she wasn't choosing to be homeless. But Lima is also part of the transhumanist party, and you guys know I broke it down in my last video. They believe that AI should run the world and that our banking and welfare and everything should be handled by a computer. But I'm not really afraid of that. I don't think that that's ever going to happen in my lifetime, so I'm not worried. Now, in that same video, Mark says it's all about mental health and it's not going to be an easy solution. And then what Lima replies kind of just like literally blows my mind and solidifies what I thought about her. I think that Lima's looking at this in the wrong way. I think that she might actually have a good idea, and I think that she might somewhat have a good heart when she's wanting to help people, because I'm an empath, you guys. I can see good and bad in all people. So I'm trying to relate, but I think she might have a good idea with trying to help everybody. But I think that the pricing and all of that is just really getting in the way. But she said it's like the snap of a finger. She can heal that person if they have enough money. You guys check out the clip.
I think it's really just about mental health.
Yeah.
That's not going to be an easy solution.
Yeah. Well, it is if the money's there, you know. So if I can help anybody if they can pay for treatment. If you can pay for treatment, it's, you know, like a snap of a finger, I can heal that person.
But when you say pay for treatment, that's not $30,000.
That's the only thing that's standing between people getting better.
But that's not like $30,000 or $40,000.
No, it's a significant amount.
Now, you guys, this is probably going to give you like drama flashbacks and everything, because you guys know I started as a drama channel. I still will call a bitch out every now and then. But since Lima has a YouTube channel, I decided that I was going to go over there and I was going to look at her tags on her videos. And I really found something that I was not anticipating. I'm actually kind of shook by all of this, because you're going to see, just like, let me reel you in. On Lima's video, Amanda's final interview, 30 days is not enough, soft white underbelly, there's some tags on here that I just don't really think that a mental health care professional would be using to promote their business. This is just very weird. I'm just going to say it. Like, so Lima actually tagged a whole bunch of stuff here. She tagged how to cure addiction, Trisha Paytas, Jason Nash, H3H3, David Dobrik, Scary movie trailer, Scary movie, viral, Tana Mojo, Ethan Klein, Soft White Underbelly, Amen Clinics, and Dr. Daniel Amen. And I'm like, okay, so who is this? This has to be somebody in the mental health care field. So I looked up who Dr. David Amen is, and I was kind of like, oh, is this somebody that works with her? Is this somebody that she looks up to? Because it's one of the two. But just to give you the gist of Amen Clinics and what they do, Amen Clinics is a group of mental and physical health clinics that work on the treatment of mood and behavior disorders. It was founded in 1989 by Daniel G. Amen, a self-help guru and psychiatrist. The clinics perform clinical evaluations and brain SPECT imaging to diagnose and treat their patients, which is cool. Like, I love science. I love learning about new things like that. And I think that Lima probably likes learning about things like this as well, because this is what her business like is based around. But when you look up who this guy is and some of his fundamental thoughts, it's kind of like very scary, because he is, in my opinion, transphobic. But I'll allow you to form your own opinions and everything, because I'm going to show you a clip of Dr. Daniel Amen and what he thinks about transgenderism and toxins.
Have you ever scanned the brains of children, say 8, 9, 10 years old, that are claiming they're transgender?
You're a troublemaker too. In a Christian church, we're going to talk about transgender kids. Actually, I have about 200 transgender patients, and a number of them are kids. And I was just having this conversation the other day, is in the 40 years I've been a psychiatrist, something's changed in the last 20 years, where all of a sudden there is just this monster rise in transgender issues. In my head, I go to toxic exposure that is disrupting their hormones, which is causing a lot of confusion. And, you know, someone clearly could say it's a spiritual issue. It's not really how I think about it. It's why do they think they're trapped in the wrong gender body? And you've seen some of the lawsuits recently against Johnson & Johnson for baby powder. I mean, they're giving these monster settlements. You've also seen the lawsuits on Roundup, which is, this is why you buy organic. Not that organic food has more nutrients. They're the same. One has poison and one doesn't. Right? And don't trust the FDA because they say it's safe. Trust the European Commission that there's like no way this stuff's ever going on our food. So I think in the book, I actually talk about hormone disruptors, and they're everywhere. So there's an app. You should download this app. It's free. It's called Think Dirty. It's not what you think it is. We talked about that week one when I was here. But if you start scanning your personal products, so you can actually scan the barcodes on your products at home. The first time I did that, I threw out half my bathroom. So that's the idea that I have. What I'm seeing is lower blood flow in their brain, which to me goes with some form of toxic exposure.
I talked about it in my last video about Lima's Instagram being taken down because people were saying that she was sexualizing children. She said that that didn't happen. I have not seen any evidence of that happening. But the tags on this video that she posted were actually kind of alarming considering the content of the video and what she was talking about. But some of the tags were Trisha Paytas, Jason Nash, David Dobrik, T, Spill Sesh, T Channel, YouTube T Channel, Funny, Vlog, YouTuber, Vlogger, Rich Lux, Travis Scott, Rehab, WTF, Meme Exposed. That to me just does not seem like some tags that a person running a professional mental health care facility or running a program that works with mental health care facilities in any kind of professional setting would be using on their social media. You should be tagging like ADHD and PTSD and all this stuff, not T channels. This is so weird. And on top of that, she's talking about her Instagram being deleted for sexualizing children, but she put funny in her tags. That's just weird. Now, Lima posted a video titled Saying Goodbye to Amanda, and something that stuck out to me and made me feel really icky and yucky about this is the fact that she tagged overdose. And I'm not saying or implying anything by this, but it's just weird to me that she would tag overdose in a video about Amanda passing away when she didn't overdose. It's even on the autopsy report, there's no overdose. So that kind of makes me feel really gross. If nothing else, it might just be that Lima just does not know how to use YouTube tags. But for anyone that could see this, this does come across kind of tactless. Now, if you watch my last video, in my intro, it had dissociated in it, but I didn't talk too much about dissociated. I didn't even really talk about dissociated at all. I didn't even touch on that. But if you know anything about dissociated, then you would have to know about Team Piñata. Now, I didn't even really know about Team Piñata either, but I started Googling and I came across a YouTube video that explains it. It's just big bad, but Lima actually tagged that as well. And I'm going to fill you in for those of you that don't know what Team Piñata is, just like me. Here's a clip from Vangelina Skov explaining it.
Right, so if you have never before watched one of my videos, or you don't know who Team Piñata is, or you just need a little bit of a refresher as to who they are and what they did and what's going on, let me give you a very absolutely tiny little itty bitty brief overview of that, because I'm aware that most people watching this will know who they are and will know what they've done, so I don't want to bore all of you. Team Piñata are a DID system who used to do YouTube but are no longer anywhere on the internet. Last year they completely left the internet, left social media, because they were called out for drawing inappropriate pictures that involved children and sneezing. If you're wondering why sneezing, it is because they have a sneeze word that begins with fet, and then, you know, it's the same word, but at the end of that word, it ends with ish. So yes, they were doing little drawings of kids doing that. A lot of them were much worse than that, but we're not going to go into details of that. Now, it was specifically one of the people in Team Piñata who was drawing these. It was Nan, but there's a whole system responsibility thing, yada yada. I'm not going to talk about system responsibility. Now, this whole thing caught a lot of people's attention because Team Piñata were engaged to Dissociated. And at the time that Team Piñata was getting called out for all this stuff, Dissociated was dealing with drama with Trisha Paytas, so there was a lot of eyes on both of them at the time. So pretty much blew up. Team Piñata went, okay, everybody hate us, we go. They tried to come back and make a very, very, very weird, not well received apology. And then they were gone again because everyone went, hey, this apology is shite. Because it was not an apology, it was a, we actually didn't do anything wrong, you're the problem, your brain don't work, your amygdala or your hippocampus or something is freaking out. I don't remember what they said. I have made a video about that apology, so you can check that out if you want to.
If you thought I was done, I'm not. There's another video that Lima posted and it was titled Why It's Dangerous to Spread Misinformation About DID and Dissociated. And in the tags of that video, she tagged Drama Alert John Cookian, and this video was posted in 2020. I don't know where John Cookian came from or what was crossing her mind when she put John Cookian in there, but he hasn't been relevant since 2018. But she also tagged Team Piñata, as well as Gabby Hanna, Stephanie Sue, and Trisha Paytas' fans only. Now, there was something else in here in my notes that I was going to address and I was going to go over, but I don't want to push it too far. I really am not trying to come off as like an asshole in this video. These are genuine questions that I would really enjoy Lima to answer. And, you know, honestly, if Lima were to show me that 100% of this was like real and there was nothing going on, I would probably get behind this. I would probably even donate some of my own money to the cause, because I myself have suffered with mental health issues, you guys. I literally just shared my ADHD and PTSD diagnosis. I literally grew up in a family and witnessed my siblings abusing drugs like prescription pills, drinking alcohol, meth, all this different stuff. So I understand the importance of mental health. I understand the importance of mental health care because so many people suffer with it and so many people go throughout their whole life and they never get the help that they need. It can be a very, very hard thing. But you guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you think that I'm reaching with this? I just really honestly think when you make big claims, you have to have big evidence to back it up. But as always, you guys, please remain respectful of one another. That's all that I ask here. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.